What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another Friday night on the Infinity Equation. Glad you all could join us. Glad you all could be here. Yo, we're going to always have a good time. It's Friday night. Hope everybody's week was very, very productive and very, very awesome. I know there was a lot of trouble this week with getting some trolls and Hall of Fun, and man, it's just it's wild this week trying to get stuff. But as always, I am surrounded by here my co-hosts, my best guys. Ryan doesn't know about AEW, but Alex will probably get it. I don't know if you'll get it, Ed as well. The Best Friends crew.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Heck yeah. I don't know what you're talking about, but AEW.
There you go.
Oily men grappling.
Oh my!
You think I'd be into it?
Here we go. First, we got Mr. Laserpants here. How you doing?
Good, man. I'm doing good. How are you?
You know, just sipping on my my ale in my big old ale mug.
Nice.
And then we got Mr. Ironhead himself. How you doing, sir?
Hey, everyone. How's it going? What kind of ale?
It's tea.
Oh.
He's preparing for Brandon to show up there in Delaware.
Exactly. He's already here. He's already landed. Planes already hit the ground. He's in the house chilling, watching the show. So you know he's already relaxing with his team.
And by that you mean he's tied up in the basement?
Not in my basement, no.
Oh.
Yes, the Blackpool Combat Club. Thank you, Moonlight. But I want to welcome our guest, Mr. Ed Bradley. Welcome, aka Hey Painter Guy on Instagram.
Yeah.
How's it going, Ed?
Yep. It's going. Busy week as always. Getting things done. Got some good stuff coming up. Some I can talk about. Some I won't. I want to save the surprise. But anyone who recently joined my Instagram page saw that I think I struck a nerve by accident, and caught a lot more people's attention than I intended to. So and that brought me here. So thanks for having me on.
I thought you striking.
I think we're pretty familiar with striking nerves. So
yeah,
you're gonna fit right in.
So you ever seen Wreck-It Ralph?
Yeah.
And you remember where Zangief was like, "I'm not the bad guy. I'm a bad guy."
Right.
That's it. That's what it's all about.
Well, part of the nature of it is, when you do anything, whether it's just out of passion or for money or a little bit of both, there's always that line between, stealing another company's IP and then being hired to do the work by someone who's gone through the proper channels and they've got the license. It's all the same for me. If one of you guys were to hire me to do an unlicensed Superman, it's about the same pay for me. It's the same work for me. It's same mindset, same materials. Versus if a company like Iron Studios or XM or Sideshow or whoever, if they were to hire me, there's a little more control there because there's approvals and all that. But for me, it's the same thing. So when someone says, well, you can't double dip, you got to pick one or the other. I've always been of the opinion that you don't have to. If you're cool with everybody and you don't go out of your way to like shove it in everybody's face and make a big deal about it, or put your business on YouTube all the time, like some guys do, they leave you alone. Nobody's going to say anything. Like nobody really wants a problem. So there's a deficit of artists that do prototyping anyways. There's only a certain pool of talent to pick from. They don't want it to shrink over collectors finally being able to get in on the action. And I'm sure you guys, have experienced that as well. So, it's a different time. I mean, like we were talking about with 3D printing and everything going digital, it's so much more accessible for collectors to say, hey, I want a Lobo, but I want Lobo the way I like Lobo. Do it like this. And you don't have to wait for a company to do your version of Lobo or Swamp Thing or Wolverine or whatever. You can hire an artist to do it your way, and then you can either do one for yourself or you can throw the money in and do 25, or you can take it to China and do 100.
Exactly. But we'll get into that gentleman later on today, because as you see, I wore the right shirt today. I had to break it out one more time for this episode, the habitual line stepper, because I'm going to be stepping all kind of lines today.
It's all right.
So, as Dave Chappelle said, yes, I have to be a habitual line stepper today. All right, gentlemen. Hey, you starting off. You just coming out the gate firing already. I like that.
Yeah.
There we go. Cool. Just real quick in some comic and TV news. I'll pull it up here real quick. Yeah. Deadline reports Marvel developing a Nova project with Sabir Perezda, Moon Knight writer, on board to write it. Ross and Marshall Thurber, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, from Red Notice, is attached to co-write and direct a live-action Voltron feature.
I think it's Thebert.
Is it Thieber?
Mm-hmm. Thebert, yeah, I think so. Live-action Voltron.
Yes.
So still an animated Voltron, because they're not going to build a Voltron in live action that works. It'll be
scared the CGI design for if it does end up getting made.
Yeah, it'll probably be like Power Rangers.
I actually watched that the other day for the first time. Well, I got it like half an hour into it, and then I tapped out.
Really?
The new movie?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Look, it just starts off so slow. It takes forever for them to become Power Rangers.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Yeah, I enjoyed it for what it was. I was like, it's a nice little remake of it.
It felt more like The Breakfast Club meets Power Rangers for me.
Yeah.
I can definitely see that. Alex,
it's not the original movie.
Oh my goodness, here we go. Alex, what came out this week, Alex? Anything interesting in comic world that came out this week?
Oh yeah, I see Andrew M is inquiring or whatever. Power Rangers vs. Godzilla. I did the variant cover on that. Actually, if you want me to share it, I can.
Yes, please. Because I got my issue. It's over there.
Oh, you did. Mine. I believe mine is coming out. It's not coming out until WonderCon. It's a WonderCon exclusive, which will then be sold, everywhere else. But it comes out first at WonderCon, which is April 1st, and then I think all the other issues 2 through 5, come out just like regular.
So April Fool's, that's on the first issue, huh?
Yeah, and then I think if definitely 1 or 2 of them, if not all of them, are going to be what they call naked covers, which means it's not going to have like the logo on it because they want to show off the artwork and all that stuff. But
so what the brother got to do to get a signed copy, Alex?
Right.
You just have to
buy it and then send it to him.
Just be patient until I get my comp copies, and then I'll just send that to you. So what am I doing here? Did I press the share button?
No, you did not.
All right.
We got a couple of comments here. We'll look through these real quick while you're pulling that up. We got Jeremy Jernigan. Thank you for showing up. Alex, happy accident. Hero Collections, Brandon. Can't wait to hang out with you tomorrow, sir. Ted Milligett. Oda Media, James, a.k.a. Ratface. Rhino Hobby, Stride, Moonlight. Johnny Stratos. Scott Hughes, Disavow. Drew G, Action Figure Expert. Johnny Coke. Johnny, you haven't hit me up for no Elden Rings yet, sir. I accept your friend request. I don't know what's going on. Numb Rugged, Tag and Collect, Andrew M, and Sal Sandoval, 82. Welcome to Chichiaro. Your boys got toys. Mr. Kevin Butterbaron himself actually came off his throne to come watch the show.
He just finished his 13th show for the week. Building an empire over there.
Alex, I got to say, I've seen a lot of your artwork. A lot, because I stay up late at night stalking you on social media and Googling your name and looking at your artworck, finding your address.
Weird. I'm
looking up your family tree, 3 or 4 generations. But this has got to be one of my favorite pieces of your art. This is amazing.
Oh, thanks. Yeah,
this is beautiful,
awesome.
man. That line work is crazy.
Thank you. Yeah, it's I'm really happy with the way all these covers came out, but the third one is my favorite because it's going to be a wraparound cover, front and back. So let me just show you what the colors look like on it. Gentleman by the name of Matt Herms. Look him up on Instagram. He also colors like some more like the cartoony comics, like Sonic, more like the animation looking stuff. But those kinds of colorists work the best with me because my line work is so busy that all I really need is just like a kind of animation flat color palette. It's really like I've got a lot going on and he's got like a minimalistic approach and it just blends really well. And I think he's the best colors I've ever had done over my artwork. So props to him, man. He killed it. And
what was his name?
Matt Herms, MATTHERMS, and you can look him up through Instagram just like that.
Very nice. Beautiful, beautiful.
Found him.
Yep. So that was that. Thanks for letting me show that off to you guys.
That's beautiful.
Always.
Will you have prints at the next convention you work?
I usually because I usually don't make prints of like covers. First of all, I'm not too certain about the legal kind of ramifications of that.
I got a lot of artists do it.
Yeah, I know. But I'd rather create something new and just sell it, because it makes that print authentic,
Yeah, I understand. A lot of questions here about are we going to be at Joe Fest this year?
I will. I bought my flight. I got my hotel. I got my tickets into the show, so I'm going to be there. I think, Dante, you're undecided?
I will be on my honeymoon probably around that time.
Oh, okay. Alex?
No, I will not. Although I am designing the T-shirt for the convention. I don't know if I mentioned that before.
No, you didn't.
And I'm just waiting for Ed, the coordinator and runner, to approve it, and then once he approves it, I'll be sure to show you guys on the show.
Very cool.
Can't wait. See it. Just real quick, I felt like this thing is still leaking resin all over the place. Hold on.
Uh-oh. Ooh, that looks pretty cool.
It is, but like I got resin all over my desk, and it gets all sticky.
Some of that real sticky, icky.
Yes, indeed.
Hey,
that's not resin.
No. Is that a Thanos chair?
No, this is Kang's hover chair from Earth's Mightiest Heroes cartoon. This is the one that he had in the show.
Oh, okay.
That's awesome.
I actually got to print this out, and I love it. Sorry, I'm trying to make sure there's no more resin in there. But I love the way it came out.
How many hours was that one?
This one was 11 hours on the Saturn S.
It's not bad.
But there he is sitting in it. I want to drip him on the resin.
Pretty cool.
But yeah, there it is.
Johnny Cock has the best, most recent comments.
I see what he said.
It's so funny.
See what he said. I ain't got time for him. You know
what? You're not gonna live stream in a scenic sunset?
Yeah. No, we're actually thinking about taking a cruise. I've never been on a cruise, and I'm going to give it a try. I don't really like being on water, so let's see how it is.
Put on those floaters.
I was in your shoes. I was in your exact shoes, and then my wife forced me by gunpoint to go on one, and I had a great time. I thought it was great, man. The boats are so big, you don't even really know you're on the water.
Yeah, don't notice
until it's sinking.
Thanks, Alex. Thanks.
They're going to put you on that big boat craft and just push you out in the middle of the sea, and there's nothing.
You're going to get dysentery and scurvy. And
what is this, Oregon Trail? It's on Oregon Trail. Oregon Trail, the boat. Thank you, Four Feathers. Yes, this is my habitual line stepper show. I thought it'd be appropriate tonight when talking about certain artists out there who made some wild comments. Wild stuff. Jeremy Jernigan, thank you for the super chat.
Always.
I'll be there at Joe Fest. Need to get my Deseret autograph and show off some AWOC stuff too. Nice.
Jeremy flexing. Look at that. Big toy industry insider, Jeremy Jernigan. Big time, Jeremy. Look at
But
that.
again, thank you all for being here. If you have not hit the like button, please hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button if you like what you see here. Even if you don't like what you see, hit the subscribe button anyway. It might be something else later on or something in the past that you like and see. You never know. You never know what happens on this show. There's times that I've gotten drunk on here and had a good time and don't know why I was drunk. So, well, this is a habitual line stepping show, so you all know. All right, so let's get into it. Ed, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us.
No problem. Thanks for the invite.
Oh, you're welcome, sir. Like, so I'm going to show everybody like what actually made me start following you.
Okay.
And it wasn't this part here per se. It was the work leading up to it.
Okay.
So I'm going to bring it up here. I wish I could have got one, but I didn't.
Yeah, this thing's pretty sweet.
You know what? I'm kicking myself so hard. The amount of messages I got, like something that my wife said that is it's really standing out to me. She's like,
You should have made more.
well, that. But she's like, painting for the industry for almost 12 years. All the characters, all the companies, never got me as much recognition as this one project. And this was something that I did totally on my own. It was my concept, my execution. I mean, I didn't sculpt the heads, but nobody stepped in and really said, "Hey, you should do it like this," or "It would be cool if blah blah blah." It was, it was my thing from start to finish. So her point was, all the things you've touched over the years that were bigger than this, and then the first time you step out and do your own thing, and you doubled your followers on Instagram in 3 days. It's kind of shocking that so many people had never heard of me or seen my work until this one thing. When I've tried so hard to put stuff out there, and I won't lie, you piggyback off of the company's names to get yourself a following. So for something this simple, a bunch of little heads in a box, that's what did it. Like, really, all you guys, that's what did it for you guys. This,
know why? I can kind of see. I say why, because it's something that was different and that was not done before. And it's, if you're doing something different that's not done before, and people's like see like, yo, like look at this, like check this out.
Yeah.
Then they're really like, yo, like, okay, I need to start following this guy. This guy's doing something right, like over here. And then they start going through, like, when they start following, you see like 6 or 7 like pictures that they start liking, and they really start following you. And like I said, this kind of made me start following. I forget how. I think it might have been through like the search feature where you go into search and it has like a bunch of pictures there.
Yeah.
I can't remember if it was through there or somebody had shared the work that you were doing previously when you were just first printing the heads.
Right.
When you made the box first, it was just still the wooden box.
Yeah. I was showing it was 2 years in the making. So this was while I was working full time in the commercial world. I'm slowly putting this thing together. And there was supposed to be 30 copies of this thing, and I'm putting all of them together myself. I'm hand painting all of them myself. I still don't have all of them completed, but yeah, there was an limited edition of 30, and then at 26, the mold started to break down, so I had to stop. So there's not even the little certificates that come with it say 1 of 30, 2 of 30, but there's only 26 in existence. So it's super limited. Like, there's not enough to go around, clearly.
Is there a reason why you chose this version of the Marvel XMen box? I see it says 1983 there. So is it because you're a fan of, I guess, the Paul Mount Smith era of Uncanny X-Men?
Correct. So the concept behind the concept was, I started out in comics. I wanted to be a comic artist. I tried to be an inker. I wasn't fast enough. I was good enough, but I couldn't do a page and a half a day. So no one would hire me, and that dream went to the wayside. But what I wanted to do was pick specific issues, either that had gravity to my childhood,
Significance,
or just the artist on that issue. And you're right.
175. That's the one where they're battling the big dragon on the front cover, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So if you look in the way that I'm going to do, there's more of these coming, by the way. The idea is if you were to look up the issue number, whatever's in the corner of that issue is exactly what I'm reproducing. I'm going to take some artistic license with a few.
Uncanny X-Men.
Yeah. But for the most part, like when you look up the issue and you look in the corner, instantly you're like, oh shit, it's just a big 3D version of that issue. Now the next one's Fantastic Four.
Nice.
I think it's issue 52 or 57. It's the Enter Doom. So it has Doom's head real big and it's got Surfer. So in that corner box, it's just the four. But I want to add Surfer and Doom to the bottom. So I'm going to change it up a little bit, but you get the idea. It represents...
Oh, no, that's the one with the fake Phoenix. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Then the only significance for me with this was that was the first issue I had ever picked up and saw Smith's art and immediately fell in love with how simple everything was. Like I was really big into Walt Simonson and Arthur Adams and John Byrne.
Oh God, me too.
So to see his stuff, the line work was less busy. It was just more framework and silhouette and light and shadow. It just reminded me of a cartoon. So it had a whole different quality to it that made me go, oh shit. So I don't have to do all the cross hatching and all the little lines like Arthur Adams does to get my point across when I'm drawing. I can be like this guy. And that was the significance of this issue.
Yeah. Came out great. The paint apps too, by the way, came out really great. It's
Thanks.
part of the reason why it looks so polished. But I was checking out your Insta, and for the people that might not be familiar, why don't you tell them about some of your background in the field? Because I know you've done like proto paint apps for like Sideshow and a whole bunch of other companies. So why don't you talk about that if you can?
Yeah. So I started out just doing garage kits and repaints of statues. Back when Bowen Designs came in the scene, that Bowen pretty much set the stage for all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I was doing this as a hobbyist, and I was dying to get in with him. So I went on Facebook when Facebook was still, in its infancy, and he just happened to be on Facebook. So I had been doing repairs and repaints for my local comic shop. So I had pictures of all this stuff with my brand new digital camera, and I sent him images, and I'm like, hey man, I want to do this work. I want to work for you. Here's what I'm doing now. And one of his main painters was ill at the time, so he needed to fill in, and I did it. So I filled in for a year, and kind of cut my teeth and got used to. I mean, he was compared to all the other people I've worked with since. He was much more as far as the art direction and the approvals and everything. It was much easier back then. It wasn't as complicated. And Randy wasn't picky. It was basically just do good, solid work that looks like the comic art, and that was the idea. So I started out with him, and that was he even told me, once you work for me, if this is what you want to do, you won't have a problem getting work. And it was exactly like that. I was like, yeah, here's 6 or 7 pieces I did for Bowen Designs, and that was it. I didn't have to go looking for work. I didn't have to pound the pavement or chase it down. It was, oh, hey, there's a new painter. You want a job? You want some work? We've got work. We need painters. Here you go. Here you go. Here you go. So I've been really fortunate along my way to not have to go through the struggle that a lot of I've heard stories from other freelancers and independent artists in whether it's sculptors, comic book artists, painters, even guys in molding and casting. A lot of guys have really had to struggle and sacrifice in ways that I never had to. So I do feel fortunate that way. But I did my share along the way. I mean, it can do things like unsettle your house, unsettle your household, ruin your marriage, make your kids bitter. It's a lot of hours. It's a lot of for just one person. I mean, all of the communication you have to do back and forth, and then you have to do the work itself. you really have to love it, or it's just not gonna work out. It's not for everybody.
Mm.
So so yeah, I went from Bowen to Kotobukiya. I did all the Marvel fine art stuff with Eric Sosa for like from 2012 all the way to 2018, I think, when it stopped. The last one we did was Storm in the white costume.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Did you-
yeah, go
sorry.
ahead.
I know. Sorry, I didn't mean to- You did She-Hulk and Black Cat too. I think.
Nope.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
Right.
No, Koto did several different lines of product in the Marvel universe. The ones I did were a very specific line where Eric did the sculpting and I did the painting, and it was 1/6 scale pre-painted resin.
Gotcha.
They also had like the sexy anime girl type stuff that they do. That's
Yeah.
similar scale, but
That's
it's all PVC. So those are probably the ones you're talking about. I didn't work on any of those.
Mm.
But,
I saw that was the Mezco Lockjaw a few screens back, right?
yeah.
yeah, I did about a year and a half, almost 2 years with Mezco of pretty steady freelance work too. But I mostly did the MDS figures, those like super deformed looking things.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly horror stuff, and like so they would send me a project and they would do the cool thing about when working with Mezco and that stuff was with 3D printing. If we were going to do a Freddy, so we would do a Freddy, the MDS figure, and they would also send me a head that was a little bit bigger that goes on the doll, the plush doll that has rotocast head, hands, and feet.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was an even larger figure from that. So I would get all of the heads at once and all of the hands and the feet and be able to paint everything sequentially. And we basically just prototyped 3 different figures from 3 different lines of product, but it's the same character, so it's all the same paint app.
Mhm.
And that was the first time I'd ever been able to do that with any company, to
Mhm.
to kind of hit 3 different lines of. There you go. There's some of them right there. Those were like, so they did the like 4.5, 5 inch versions, and then they did these little
Right.
1 3/4, maybe 2 inch versions. And basically, all I had to do was replicate the bigger version and just do it smaller.
Mm.
Um,
So these prototypes that you work on, do they ever see like the light of day as far as like being displayed in a convention?
oh yeah, the
Okay.
the coolest part about going to Comic-Con is if you're in this line of work, the past 6 months to a year of all the nose to the grindstone that you've done, you literally get to walk into a big building and your work is everywhere. Like there was
Mhm.
one year I went to the sideshow booth and it was like the whole right hand side of the booth. I'm like, I did that, I did that, I did that, I did that, I did that. And being able to go to other producers and say, here's my card, here's my portfolio on my iPad, or come to the sideshow booth and I'll show you my work in person. And being able to walk them up and say, that thing in that case right there is mine. I did that. That's something that you didn't used to be able to do, 10, 12 years ago.
Mm.
So, I just feel like that as things have progressed and the field has changed, I've had more opportunities maybe than the guys that came before me. So, um, I don't use the word blessed a whole lot, but that's a really good way to describe it. Like there's definitely been something throughout my path kind of touching certain times and situations to allow me to have doors opened for me, and even be brought, have people reach out and say, hey, come here, I saw what you did for them, do this for us. And I'm like, shit, okay, that's cool. um, it's not what I thought. I imagined myself struggling a lot, and I thought that the first couple of years would be really difficult. And it turns out the only hard part was deciding who to say yes to and who I have to say no to.
That
So,
zombie Elmo is awesome.
well, yeah, my buddy Carl did that. He does a whole line of demented Sesame Street characters.
That
He
is
used to
rad.
he used to work for McFarlane Toys.
Hmm.
So
Very cool.
yeah,
Awesome stuff, man.
thank
Yes,
you.
very, very. Yeah, you're. This is impeccable. Like I'm looking through it. Like this, even older stuff looks great. The newer stuff looks
Thanks.
awesome. The older stuff looks awesome. Like all of it is just very
Well,
well
and
done.
some of that too, and Alex, you can probably attest to this. There's a huge difference between your style as an artist, the way that you draw, the way that you um, um, in your mind's eye, when someone says, "What does Boba Fett look like?"
Mhm.
What does Boba look like to you versus what does Dark Horse want you to create Boba as? You've got rules to follow. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
you got to meet in the middle at least, or give
Yeah.
them everything they want.
So some of this stuff commercially, it's like, oh, I love your work. You just have a style, and I'm like, that's not my style. That's me playing up to the sensibilities of my client. Which Sideshow has a certain way they like everything done.
Mhm.
When you work for them enough, your stuff starts to just kind of look that way
Mhm.
because you get used to following those guidelines or approaching the work that way. But then
Yeah.
when you get to stretch your legs and kind of do, if someone says, "Hey man, just do your thing," that's when you really start to
Fun, yeah.
find out how good or how bad you are with certain things. Like for me, it's always been females. I don't do female faces. They tend to look like bar whores. They look like hookers. Because I'm just not. I don't have a lot of practice doing soft, attractive female faces. That's just not my thing. I don't do dinosaurs either. So sometimes knowing your weaknesses better than your strengths as an artist professionally will carry you even further because you don't have to embarrass yourself by biting off more than you can chew, taking on work that you know you're not meant to do that isn't really in your wheelhouse. And now you're stuck with this project and you're like, shit, I don't even know how I'm gonna get this done. But and then you fake it till you make it till they tell you, okay, that's good enough, send it in.
Hmm.
And you're like, oh, that was a nightmare. But yeah, it's just like anything else, it has its ups and downs. But
So when you like, for instance, that lockjaw that you worked on for Mezco,
Mhm.
what is the process? And maybe you don't even know, but what's the process when you submit it? How do they then take that and take it to manufacturing?
all right, so what we do, about halfway through, you'll send in images just to kind of show them where the project is going, and they'll give that to the for the licensor to take a look at.
Hmm.
They'll come back with notes. They'll say like if it was that Savage Dragon, Eric Larson would say, the green's too dark or it's too
Mhm.
yellow or too brown. The hair is not right. It needs to be more choppier and this far apart. The eyebrows need to be this. Whatever it is that they feel needs to be adjusted, they'll tell you to make those adjustments. So then you go back and you make those adjustments, and then you go, okay, how's this? And hopefully on the second time around, they say, yeah, it looks good. Once you get the green light, you pack it up and you ship it. It goes to China, and then the factory proceeds to um, basically try to visually de-evolve everything you've done and replicate it the same way that you did.
Hmm.
Excuse me. So yeah, it depends on the factory and they're just workers. They're not artists. There's a few
Right.
Yeah.
artists, but they're just people sitting at a desk with an airbrush or a paintbrush or whatever, and they have a specific part of the process that they do. But these factories are pretty good at copying what we do for people who have no formal art training or um, they're just filling a position. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
They're doing really well, I think. Some people complain a lot, but
I mean, I think it's pretty brilliant if you ask me to like replicate these things, these especially like these more high end stuff like the sideshow stuff or the
yeah,
statues or the bone. I mean, in the thousands. I mean, it's
hmm
pretty amazing if you think about it.
yeah, yeah. I mean, could it be better? Sure. Um,
Mhm.
for the price that you pay, do you want something a little cleaner? Yeah, I would. But the reality is, hey, this is the best they can do. So, and
Yeah.
and when I first started working for Sideshow, I was used to holding back. Up until that point, most of my clients had said, "Well, the factory can only do so much of what you're going to try to do, so don't go too crazy
Mhm.
because then they can't match that." And Sideshow was the opposite. They're like, "Well, if we aim for 120% and we know they're going to fall short, that's better than aiming at 100 and they fall short of that. Like
Mhm.
push them, give them more, do more texture." So
Yeah.
some of the stuff that we would paint is like, for instance, on a bodysuit like what you're looking at right now.
Mhm.
Most of the painters I see, what they're doing is they would either start with black and then do a blue highlight, or the other way around. They do the
Mhm.
blue base coat and then shade it with black. What Sideshow will have you do is use washes and sponging to actually put texture on that suit and give it an added element of interest that
Mhm.
makes it look like it's made out of something. It's not just spandex or
Right.
patent leather or whatever. Very similar to the costume Deadpool wears in the movies, how it's real spotty and some spots look kind of dingy and dirty and stained. They go for more of that level of realism. So if you give me a piece that's texturally pretty smooth, I'm going to go in and I'm going to add texture to that to make it look better. And hopefully the factory can replicate that so that when you get it, it doesn't just look like a smooth red cape. It's got some interest. It's got some organic breakup to it. So yeah, you pick and choose. You try to make it fit the subject matter. So
now, and also in that case, so, and I know some people here who do 3D printing and still get into it. If you kind of tell everybody like what 3D printers you kind of use for your job, and then what slicer you use as well.
Well, I'm still a caveman. I'm still using Chi2 box or Chai2 box or however you want to say it, because it's free and that's what I learned on. So I'm a self-taught printer like most of us. Yeah, there's some good stuff on YouTube, but they're doing miniatures or they're doing props. When you're doing scale models, it is a little different. Things have to really fit together properly. You don't want to spend 2 days filling and sanding layer shifts or build lines or even tears from too much suction. So you want to get your prints right the first time, and everything needs to go together without gaps around the waist or the arm joint or whatever. And I learned on Chi2 box, so it works for me. I've heard that there's others that are better, and it's probably true. But I'm lazy. I don't want to have to learn another program on top of what I've already had to learn.
Right.
As far as the printers, I started out with the Sonic Mini. I bought 2 of those, and those are baby build plates. You can't do much, but it was good enough for me. And then from that, I went to the Transform, and then I got the Saturn, and then I got a Mighty 4K, and then I got a Saturn S, and I just got my Mega 8K like 3 days ago. So, yeah, I'm building it up as fast as I can. But
I'm with you on that.
but they're all pretty good. I mean, I say if I have to choose a favorite, the Saturn. I just really love the Saturn. My prints are really beautiful, and it seems like I could have the same settings on all of them, but the Saturn's prints they always end up done first. Like my Saturn's always okay, I'm done, and it's just hanging there, and I'm like, sweet, I got parts.
Right.
But the quality's pretty across the board to me. For a lot of these things, I did buy the 8K, but I don't think it's necessary. The level of detail that you can get on a 6-inch action figure, a 1/6 scale statue, even a 1/4 scale statue, you can only get so much detail on that surface area. After that, it's kind of pointless. And then once you prime it and you've got 7 layers of paint on it, I mean, is it really doing anything? No, but it's a huge build volume, and you can build really big shit all at once. So that's why I got it. I got it for that.
Exactly.
I don't think that the 8K matters at all. I think 4K would have been fine. But
got a couple questions and comments here. Your boys got toy says it's super refreshing to hear artists have a positive experience getting into their field.
Yeah. That was something that was pretty cool too. Like once I started getting into circles and talking to other artists, and you hear, like I said, all the struggles and the horror stories and all this other stuff, it's like, wow, that sucks. I don't. That's not my experience. I don't have that. So I can't relate to you. 90% of everything I experienced was my expectations were here, and the situation ended up here. So, I mean, what do you have to complain about? Even if the art director was a pain in the ass, and even if the project took a week longer, and even if you should have charged another $200, would you just take it for what it is? I'm an uneducated kid from Ohio who had no connections into this industry, who taught himself how to do something, decided to turn it into a real job, and ended up working for all of the big companies at one point. So I don't have shit to complain about other than I wish I had 2 more hands. That's about it, man. I came, I saw, I kicked its ass. That's What movie is that from?
We came,
Ghostbusters?
we saw, we kicked it. It's Ghostbusters.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about my time in the industry. Is I came in with low expectations, but I was determined, and I did what I needed to do, and it all turned out fine. And then recently, I've kind of stepped away from a lot of it and working with independent artists and doing my own thing. And so hey, it's it's all good. I want to put a book together at some point that kind of maps out my progression from hobbyist to professional and then back to hobbyist, and just kind of cover like, okay, so here's where I started, and here's I was working out of a basement, or I was working out of my bedroom, or I finally got a studio, and then I got a bigger studio. I'd like to document all that.
Definitely, that I think that would greatly help for like people who are starting out, enthusiasts who are looking into it. Because I know we do get a lot of questions about how to start out, and then people are like maybe run into issues like where like the printer's just like, yeah, it's not doing what I need to do. I think that
Yeah.
would be great, and
Well, let me say this
it'd help a
then
lot.
for everyone who's listening. This is an open invitation to everyone watching. If you have questions, please feel free to ask. I don't ignore people. I don't turn them away or say, "Well, that's privileged information." Or there's no gatekeeping here. I'm not some old bitter prick who doesn't want to pass it down to the younger generation. Like this stuff's going to die off if someone doesn't come in and take it over. And I very much want to be a part of that, the handing off of the torch if I can. Not that I'm a veteran at this point. I've noticed that there's no real younger generation coming into to the modeling world. It still tends to be late 20s and older. The younger kids are just kind of not. They'd rather play video games or be on social media and get followers and be fake famous rather than create something and give back to a following or a group of people. And I don't know. It's just, if someone wants to learn, I'll teach. If someone's like, hey, how'd you do that? Even if it's super complicated, I'll say, well, how much time do you have? Because this was a process and I need to explain all the steps. The likelihood is I'm going to bore you before I'm going to get tired of your questions. So don't ever feel like you can't approach me.
Was there anyone that from an older generation that inspired you or helped you? I know you said you're self-taught, but was there anyone that helped you along your path?
Yeah, Bowen gave me my first shot and basically said like, yeah, man, your stuff's good enough. You want to work for me? Come on.
Cool.
And he just kind of let me. I think I remember the first conversation we had. We were on the phone, and I had this idea that somehow I was in charge, or that I was going to get to make decisions, or that he was hiring me for my creativity. And towards the end of the phone call, I remember him being real quiet. Yeah, Johnny, that's a challenge. I just remember him being real quiet, and then he goes, once I was done with my young man bullshit, he said, okay, well, let me tell you what I want. And that's when I realized, oh man, you just put your foot in your mouth. Because at no point did I ask him, so what do you need from me? Because like I said, this was my first foray into this world. I didn't understand that I'm a tool. Like they're using you to create something, and you have an ability. They don't really necessarily want you for your ideas. They need you to just carry out your part of the process and follow directions and be professional and just shut the hell up and do your job. And that's it. So, yeah, Randy helped me out a lot. There's the other guy that was painting for him at the time. He went by Dan Coate. He was the first guy that I took any of my work to in person and said, hey, I want to do what you do. Here's a piece that I did. What do you think? And he gave me just as far as like when kids need that reassurance, they need that push. They need that pat on the back, the attaboy. When you go to someone who you look up to and they're genuinely like, wow, no, this is really good. Who are you? He looked at me and he said, who are you again? And he's looking at the thing I gave him to look at. and he didn't give me any critiques at all. He just kept asking me, so what are you doing? And I'm like, I work in a steel factory. And he's like, what? Like, why? Like, do this. Yeah, you got it. Like, there's you know.
Hold on. You worked at a steel factory?
Yeah, for like 14 years.
What?
And
What did you guys make at the factory?
we basically I worked on a slitter line, and we would take, if you ever see on the highway, there's semis pulling trailers they look like big toilet paper rolls of steel.
Yeah, coils. Yeah,
coils. We would take the coil, put it on an arbor, we would unroll it, break it down into smaller coils, and then rewrap them at the other end of the line and sell them off to whoever wanted to buy it. So sometimes we would cut them specifically to a length and a width. Sometimes we would just break it down and see if we could sell it on the open market.
Sorry, that was just a quick aside for me.
Yeah,
Ryan works at a factory.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why.
Yeah, and
You guys have like a secret handshake or something that we don't know?
Well, I was hoping it was the steel mill from The Simpsons, because whenever I tell people what I do for work, they're like, "Oh, like the steel mill from The Simpsons?" And I'm like, "No."
Yes,
No,
exactly.
it's like the one from Terminator 2, I told you.
Yeah, it's just like the one from Terminator 2. Yes.
Oh, yeah. Real quick, John does have a question, and then we got a question for Rhino Hobbies as well. Johnny says, does the factory just go by your end paint job on the masters, or do they ever have to send masters / samples in stages so they can mess around with the, i.e. multi-stage results with
opacity? Let me see.
Thank you. Opacity effects.
Right. So most of the time the intention is for them to just follow what I've done. But yeah, if they get samples back and the home office sees that the samples they're turning in, there's deviation from, because when we do the paint masters, we do two identical copies. One goes to the factory, and then one stays at the home office for that very reason. So when they get the samples in, they've got the other one that I actually did to compare it to and say, this was Ed's original prototype. These are the 5 samples from the factory. How close did they get it, or is it way off, or did they nail it? And then that way they can go back to the factory and say, hey, you're falling short here, here, and here. The rest looks great. And, they may have to come back with another round of samples, or they may just say, tighten these 3 things up and just run it. It really just depends on who it is. I mean, everybody's got their own way of doing things.
So real quick, do you ever get to keep any of your originals?
Not very often.
Yeah.
There's been times where with the 3D printing where I've been sent prints to paint, and then they'll say, hey, wait, we have to make a change. We've got to redo the likeness, or we've got to change the arm or whatever. So then the original prints that I got gets put to the side, and they'll send me new prints. I've gotten to keep those before. They don't ask for those back, and I don't say anything. So I
finish them up and for yourself, for your own.
No, I've got all that stuff in a box in storage. I'm kind of keeping that for my grandkids maybe, or if I have a niece or a nephew later on in the family who maybe takes an interest. I'd like to have some stuff hanging around to hand down to anyone who gives a shit, because the idea that, hey, someone in our family did something outside of the norm. They did that thing that we tell everyone is kind of impossible or not very likely or not a good idea or too much risk. But Uncle so-and-so or Grandpa so-and-so did it, and this is what he did for a living. I want to have that to be able to live on when I'm gone. And that be my contribution to my family, to say, hey, whether it's art or, you want to start a construction business, or you want to be a baker, or whatever the hell it is that does it for you. When you feel passionate about something to the level that when you're interacting with other people at the job you happen to have, or at a family barbecue, or you're out with your kids, and it takes everything in your power to stop thinking about that thing that you'd rather be doing. That's the thing you should be doing. Put everything on the line, risk it all. Damn your friends and family who are going to tell you not to do it, and all the reasons why it's never going to work, and your kids need your income to be stable, and all this other bullshit. Do it for peace of mind, do it for happiness, and do it so that you're not 80 years old about to die, and you're like, you know what I wish I would have done? I wish I would have tried to do that one thing just to see if I made a dent or whatever, or fell on my face, but at least you'd know. And I got that out of the way. I did that at 33. I said, hey, yeah, I've been at this job almost 15 years. I'm not going anywhere. It's a dead end job. It's bullshit. You don't pay me enough. I'm going to take a chance on me on my way to the unemployment line and go do my dream job and see where that lands me. And I'm still doing it since then. Like it never stopped. So yeah, so I'm all for if you play your cards right and you take calculated risks and you network properly and you're not an asshole or a douchebag to people and you show people kindness and you do favors because you should, not because you have to or you want something in return. I do believe in karma. I think it does come back to you. I think that you build those relationships and you end up nurturing something that will end up serving you in the long run, whether you meant for it to or not. There's a lot of passion behind collecting, and it's a lot of money and it's a lot of patience and hunting shit down at the stores and hunting it down online and communicating with your fellow collector. We all have a lot invested in this, whether you're a creative or you're the one supporting the creatives. So another part to all of this is, thank you to everyone who spends their hard-earned money on the silly shit that we make. Because if you didn't, we wouldn't have jobs. We'd have to go back to the factory. So I appreciate that a lot.
There you go.
So
you heard it here, folks.
Speaking of collecting, is there anything? Are you in the toy collecting hobby or statues, artwork? What are you into?
I want to say that I'm a collector, but I find that trying to be a completist or actually collect anything, I mean, it takes money that I need to invest in my business.
Mm-hmm.
So I really don't have the money. Like if I've got $300 to buy a statue that I really like, that's another small to medium sized printer, or that's another month and a half's worth of resin, or that's paper towels and gloves and sandpaper and alcohol. Or it's me paying someone to update my website, or it's me going to a convention. I got to look at it like that. I would love to collect a lot of things. I used to collect. I'm big into Hellboy. Anything Hellboy is great. I love really weird, like insect, humanoid hybrid type characters.
Like Gomez.
That's what I was thinking. Exactly.
Yeah.
Gomez.
a lot of the. It seems like if I could have been born in a different culture, if I could have been Japanese, I think things would have been a little easier for me to figure out. Because I've always been a fan of the way that they approach and pursue art in general. Not just that I love anime and that I love manga and that I love all their action figures over the way we do action figures. Their stuff is just always a little more. It has more of an impact. Like they're always pushing the envelope with the details and the articulation, or if it's a statue, they're always pushing body language and
the engineering too.
That too, the engineering, so that you can break it down and ship it safely and then put it all together at the end and it still looks seamless.
And they have an incredibly strong work ethic.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
They push themselves to perfection. That culture is amazing.
Yeah.
Right.
Real quick, RG says, I appreciate the behind the scenes and the process, Ed.
Yeah, of course.
Rhino Hobbies asks, what's a good primer to use for 3D prints?
So I like automotive primer for just about everything for two reasons. Number one, as long as the surface is clean, it'll stick to anything. The other thing is when you're trying to choose a primer, you don't want to choose something that's going to be too heavy or too thick and fill in your details on the surface. Like if it's wrinkles around the eyes or even the eyelids themselves, the nostrils, the teeth, fingernails, wrinkles in the knuckles, little fine hairlines in creatures and monsters. You want to choose something that's got enough tooth to hold the paint, but you don't want something heavy. You don't want a real thick enamel-based primer for your models. You want to use a lacquer base or an acrylic. So I use Duplicolor, and I use Rust-Oleum, and I use Krylon. Those are my big three for primers, clear coats, and even your satin and your semi-gloss, your gloss. Because they're durable, they stick really well. And if you don't want to actually use primer, you can use Krylon flat sealer. So I'm going to give you some of you printers a tip here. So if you're going to do something like this, and you want the flesh tones. You don't want to have to paint primer and then do a base coat of flesh.
Hmm.
And when I say flesh, let's be sensitive here. Caucasian flesh.
Hmm.
If I'm doing Caucasian flesh, I can buy a resin that's already pretty close to this. If you add a little bit of clear resin and then a drop of white or blue, you can print it, and then that's your base already. Hit it with a coat of clear, and that's your primer. Your paint will stick to that. And then what you're going to do is you're going to paint with translucent or transparent layers over top of that. The Superman that you guys showed earlier, that's how I did the portrait on that. So you can actually print things in a translucent resin and not have to primer it at all. And your paints are going to look more vivid. Your characters are going to have a little more life to them because you're just going in with certain colors and just kind of warming up the cheeks and the chin and the forehead and the knuckles, the elbows, the knees. Just that alone will make your paint job look more on the professional side than if you're trying to do everything using solid coats of opaque paint and get your colors right. Skin's really hard to do. It either ends up too green because you're using gray primer. You don't want to use gray primer. If you do use primer, always use white. You wouldn't, if you got crayons and markers, you wouldn't color on colored paper. If you wanted to see those colors, right, you would color on white paper. So white primer for bright, vibrant colors. Anyway, I feel like I'm kind of going on a tangent here,
No, you're
but
fine.
I'm just trying to give some advice to some of the guys who are actively doing this stuff.
There are plenty of people in the chat that have questions. So
Yes.
Yeah. Well, then let me just defer back to if there's questions. Let me just answer those so I don't waste everybody's time babbling.
Four Feather says, liking this podcast on Ed and Ed's insight on his work, background, and history. Johnny says, so Steel Brigade handshake. Daniel says, passion is important for wanting to work on something that makes you happy.
Absolutely.
Then we have a super chat from Jane Saltberg. Thank you very much. Great discussion. Thanks, Ed.
Thank you.
Then we have a question for Scarlet Kid. One says, just got Elegoo Mars 3, new to 3D printing. Having an issue of the print sticking to the build plate. The table in the printer is level. Not sure if it's something in the settings that's wrong. I'm just curious, what resin are you using? Because that's also have a.
Yeah.
If you, I think it's like what I do like is Resin. Res One is very good because they give you an Excel sheet of which printer and which settings that it has to be on for the resin.
Right.
So I'm just kind of curious what resin you're using on your printer.
I would say try this, and I've been catching shit from people on various boards when I say this. When people have problems with leveling their build plate and getting their initial layers to stick, they're all bumping up their burn-in times, and all you're doing is you're taking life off your screen and you're over-curing the resin. It's not going to help you.
Yep.
When you level your build plate, they're going to give you all your machines are going to come with this leveling paper, right? And they're going to tell you to take the vat off and put that paper on the screen and use that to level your build plate. I say bullshit. I say put the vat on empty and level your build plate on the actual FEP film that you're going to be using when you print. So you get it closer to the screen, right on top of the film, and you've got just enough clearance for the liquid to, stay there between. It's we're talking 0.05 millimeters. That's thinner than a sheet of paper. So if you're setting your clearance for a sheet of paper and you're wondering why that liquid's not, adhering like it's supposed to, it could be because there's still too much space. I don't know. I'm not an expert.
No, and I agree with you because I do it twice. So I do it with the paper, and then I do it with the vat in there because I know that film, like you're saying, it's a whole lot thinner than the piece of paper that they tell you to use to try that. But he says using the Anycubic Eco resin. I think the Eco resin is a little bit different. You may have to play around with the settings on that one.
Yeah, I think for just regular Anycubic resin, my normal layers are between 2.6 and 2.8 on the Elegoo printers. On the Frozens, I can do like 2.3 to 2.5 seconds for the layers, but I don't know. You could try messing with that. That might work. If you want to find me on Instagram and message me, we can do all this later, and I'll spend hours going back and forth with you about printing stuff because I'm here doing it anyway. So it's really just a matter of talking to you about the thing I'm doing anyways. You know what I mean? So
And then Charles Phillips says, I'm not capable of doing any of the stuff that Ed is talking about, but I could listen to him talk about it all day long. Fascinated by it, and his passion is contagious.
I appreciate that, but I disagree. I tell people,
Exactly.
and you guys, when you take the time to try to get good at anything, eventually you're going to see improvement. Like, yes, the guys that play in the NBA or professional boxers, they have a built-in talent for that thing. There's something about the way their brain works or their body moves that lends to that thing. But you didn't get there just from waking up every day and saying, I'm going to be the best basketball player in the world. You had to suck at it for years to get good at it. You had to figure out what not to do before you figured out what to do. And when it comes to printing and sculpting and painting, all this, doing toys and statues, I think more guys would surprise themselves if they just said, fuck all the dumb shit. I'm going to buy a bunch of paint and I'm going to buy some models and I'm going to spend a year and just go for it and see what happens. I think you'd probably be pretty pleased with yourself at some of the things you'll create when you stop comparing your work to everybody else's. Stop looking to guys like me who are professionals. If you compare your work to mine right off the bat, you already lost. Do your own thing. Have your own ideas. Do stuff that you want to do. The shit that lights a fire under your ass and motivates you to spend 2 hours resculpting details on an action figure, or the paint app sucks, so I'm going to do it all over again. That's the kind of stuff I want to see. People getting back to just get their hands dirty and make it up as you go along, like our dads used to do. Like, it just seems like as generations go on, it's less hands-on and more just give it to me done already. I just, this instant gratification world we're living in doesn't suit me, and I got no time for it. So yeah, I like people just make shit. Let's just make stuff.
Well, you got Johnny on board. He says, the moral story, get good vibes. Charles says, right on, this is inspiring. Omega Weapon 13 says, Ed is my spirit animal, great wisdom. And Scarlet Kid says, maybe Ed should be looking to be a motivational speaker. I'm getting pumped just listening. Great stuff, guys.
What's up, 1-6 shooter?
Yeah. And Fourth Feather says, wow, good advice, Ed. Love your honesty, man. As always.
Thanks.
Bart says, I'm sorry. You see Bart's comment.
He says, see, Ryan, get those LEDs.
Get on those LEDs.
Yeah. All right, Ed, thank you for hanging with us. Wow, this is amazing. This is pretty cool. We're going to jump into some
toy news.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. First off, for the folks who've been here for a while, who do know me, no, I'm not a big Todd McFarlane DC multiverse fan of his figures. Not saying his comics aren't great. Okay. Now, the business aspect of what he's doing, that's great. But the other stuff he said, this is hard.
Is it? Okay, no, I'm sorry. Go.
So I'm gonna say this. This is just my opinions. You don't have to like it. That's fine. It's just me speaking my mind and how I felt about it. I've had a couple of conversations within the past week with designers, with collectors, and people who just like disappointed in what Todd said. Todd has not left the 90s. You can't just point to a finger and say, hey, that looks cool. Let's go ahead and make it. I don't care what the name is. Let's just go ahead and make it. Yes, I understand you're looking out for the collectors with the price and everything. That's great. I'm not going to be mad at you. Price-wise, fine. That's great. Then you're saying that also female figures don't sell. You don't put a whole lot of men in your line. That I have to kind of disagree with. Female figures do sell. There's a on the Hasbro side, Marvel Legends, Star Wars. I'm trying to think of what other lines. Master of the Universe. Females sell because they're part of teams or they're great characters that people enjoy. And to say that you're going to kind of, you say you could sell females, but you don't, you really don't put them in there. Well, if you know you can sell females, why not sell females? I mean, how hard is it to sell a good female figure? You got the DC line. There's plenty of female figures that you can sell. Zatanna, Vixen, more Batgirls. You can put Batgirls all out there. I'm trying to think. Was it Far Sector? Is it Far Sector 9? I think it's a comic. The Green Lantern, the female Green Lantern. I forget her name.
I don't know. I don't read comics.
But you got a ton of females out there that you can sell. And the thing is, like, I look at all the other lines, even with Bobby and his Valorverse figures. People are hyped over the female figures in that line.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't sit here and tell me that female figures won't sell in the store. And then you're going to say, if a parent goes out and buys a child a female figure, and they say, hey, did they have dinosaurs? They have monsters, all this other cool stuff. You think that's going, and you may be trying to be funny with it, but it wasn't a good joke. It was not a good joke with it. You can't say that somebody's going to turn out to be a serial killer because they got a female figure.
Well, I think what he was saying was the child didn't get what he wanted. He didn't get the toy he wanted, and that's what the joke was.
And that's the thing, like,
what?
I mean, Todd's not crazy. He's
right.
not.
I'm not saying he's crazy.
He doesn't actually think that the boy is going to become a serial killer because he didn't get the toy he wanted. I think he was just being hyperbolic and facetious.
Yeah, and it shouldn't have been. I understand what you're saying, and that's why I said you probably was trying to say it as a joke. And it's just didn't come off correct. It did not come off correctly because when you think about these figures that he's making, I don't see a lot of kids in the aisles. And I talked with and I'll say it. I had a long conversation with Jay Figgs over this. Depending where you're at in what state, figures are going to fly off the shelf that you may be looking for. You'll be like, Dad, I can't find this figure. And then other states, let's say like in Washington, they're sitting there. They're just there. They're easy to get.
I wish.
I'm just saying that's an example.
No, I know.
Okay, Jay Figgs is here. Yeah, we just had a conversation about it. I appreciate you, Jay. Like I said, we had a nice conversation about it. I had a conversation with others about it. I think Todd McFarlane just hasn't stepped out of, like I said, the 90s. He hasn't come into the 2000s. He thinks that people still want just cool figures that barely move. And I think he only takes a look around when it needs to, but it's just like, why would I make any other kind of figures when everybody's going to buy my figures either way? And I got all this retail space that I'm paying for. Now, I was like, all right, Todd, I'll take you up on that. I go to my local Target. His retail space was about the shelf. It was a good 2 or 3 shelves. All his stuff was still jam-packed on the shelf. I'm like, where's the Legends? They're on an end cap and mostly all sold out. Now, the only one who was jam-packed as well was Master Universe Revelation figures, which I can understand. They're not great. But wrestling figures, it's just the ones that nobody wants or is already have, that they're just oversaturated with.
Yep.
G.I. Joe figures, they were going. Mm-hmm. Like, his stuff was it was like knocking over like what little was, like there was 2 G.I. Joe figures on the shelf. Now, again, depending on what state you're in, your targets are going to be different. But you can't say that your stuff is just in the boys line because you go over to where the NECA stuff is, your stuff's hanging up there too, discounted halftime.
Yeah, I don't know why they split his toys between the regular toy aisle and the NECA section. Like, why do they?
Exactly.
Because I'm a NECA ambassador, so I take a picture of that section every week to try to win $20, which I actually did win last week.
What?
Congrats to me! I won $20 from
Nice.
NECA. But you know, Todd is definitely stuck in his ways as far as how he makes figures, but he's also a businessman and he's very successful. So I tend to just take his word for it, like what sells. I mean, I know we have our anecdotal evidence. We go to the toy aisle and what do we see on the shelf is what we see on the shelf. But from the businessman perspective, it could be even like not his call. I mean, he sells the figures to Target, to Walmart, to Big Bad. He has to take what he wants or, whatever he has in the line to them, and they have to agree to buy it. So if I think, and this is all speculation because I'm not in business. I'm not a businessman. I'm not as savvy as him, but he has to take his product to them and say, hey, I want to sell this to you so you can put it on your shelf. And what he was saying was if he took a wave of 4 female figures, or he also in the same sentence mentioned 4 villains, he couldn't sell that because he's not really selling to us. He's selling to Target. He's selling to Walmart. So it could be that's what he's talking about. And then yes, he mentioned the young boy who didn't get the toy he wanted, and then he made a joke about serial killer start somewhere or something. I
don't know how many young boys are even buying these toys. These toys are clearly for us.
Right.
They're aimed at adults.
Exactly.
I totally agree. Like when I go to the toy aisle, all I see is other overweight collectors like me. That's all I ever see. I don't really see kids that often. And if I do see kids, they're usually in the Lego aisle.
Right. But that's the reason why you've got half of his supply at the back by the movie section where the NECA stuff is and the other pop culture, because they also know there's a lot of grown men who aren't going to go over to the actual kids' toy aisle. They're going to come over here and buy big boy toys from movies that they like. And, McFarlane's stuff from the DC line is clearly aimed more at adult collectors. I think that's all it is just trying to make sure he hits his fan base, because we're the ones with the money to buy the shit. The younger crowd, they're not spending their money on action figures. They're spending it on video games and clothing now. So
and expansion packs for Fortnite and Pokemon and Tekken Collect brought up a great point. He used to be a Target supervisor. He said Todd could have have an approved line that Target has bought, and those show up on the shelves, and anything over by NECA and Funko is vendor. So he basically NECA rents that space on the shelf from Target. So I think what he's saying is Todd might rent space there too from Target and just send whatever he wants. See what I'm saying?
Yeah. But man, Dario. Hey, Dario, how you doing? 80s baby. McFarlane is out of date. He still thinks he's still in the 90s or something. Thank you. I just got this. What more kills me about this is the same man who said, hey, you know what? Spawn's not going to sell in the stores. Spawn's just I can't sell Spawn. But what do you do? Turn around and do? You're selling Spawn in the store. You keep telling me this is not possible. You told me when your Kickstarter started, when you did the Kickstarter for Spawn, hey, it's not possible to put all these joints in a figure, because the body, we gotta put stuff inside the body to make it move and make it have that lean, like he's doing a fashion show, sashaying down. No, stop lying to me, Todd. I have enough figures around me to show you that you can do it. If NECA can do it, why can't you?
How much was the Kickstarter Spawn?
For all 3, I think it was 180. 180.
So he's probably saying he can't sell a $60 figure at Target. I mean, now probably he could because prices have gone up so much, But
the thing is, he's not even selling. So remember, the Spawn he's coming out with the chair.
Oh yeah.
He's selling that. He's going to sell that in stores. So you're telling me you can make that but you couldn't give us like a correct spawn that we all been waiting for, a very articulated spawn. The only articulated spawn we've gotten so far is from the Mortal Kombat line that everybody loved. He just refuses to do it. And I understand it's your property. And don't go say, oh, I know how these other publishers are doing, jacking up the prices, $3.99, $4.99 for a comic, but I still kept my comic at $2.99. You were at Image, sir. Image got all the comics for $2.99. Please don't make it like you're doing something special for us. Todd, somebody needs to say, Todd, come out of the 90s into the 2000s. We have evolved in figures. Like, I don't understand this. How he has not. I think it's just a refusal. He's that old crotchety man who's on his lawn. He's like, I'm going to keep my house the same way. I don't care what the HOA says. I'm going to keep my house the same way as it is. He's like, you can paint your houses blue. I want to keep my house brown. He's that crotchety old man.
HOA. What's
Yeah.
HOA?
I just gotta say, 80s baby in the chat. The spawn with the chair looks better than the Kickstarter spawn.
Exactly.
I
And you
love
paid
the
less
80s
for
baby.
that.
I love the 80s babies here. Shout out to Dario. I hope you're
Yes.
doing well. I hope you're recovering well.
Thank you, Dario. You know what, Dario?
Yeah.
We see eye to eye, Dario. Appreciate you.
But yeah, I mean, Todd is definitely stuck in his ways, and I'm not a fan of his figures. I have a few, like some of his DC multiverse, like basically the big monster figures. But he is very profitable, so that's what he's in the business for, right? So yeah, I mean, we like perfect example. Who wants that Kickstarter spawn? Like our podcast, Toy Migos, everyone in our community, we want a super articulated spawn.
Yes.
But that spawn sold a lot. And people, I mean, yeah, we see DC Multiverse in the pegs, but I'm thinking he's pretty profitable. Someone's buying him. I think there's like some other like community we're not aware of that are buying these things up, and I don't know.
They are, because remember when that Kickstarter finally came out, look how fast it was on eBay, selling for outrageous prices.
Yeah, but what was it selling for?
If you got all three, you can at least get like, I think it was like $400 to $500 for them, maybe even more.
Wow. And see, that's the thing. It's like I don't like Super 7. I don't like their products. It's not what I want. But right. I know there is a market for what they're doing because exactly. I'm pretty sure they're successful. I'm pretty sure they're making a lot of money.
You're talking about the 5 points figures, the little,
just either the reaction or the ultimates. I'm not a fan of either line, but I know that they have their fan base.
Right. I don't like most of what they've done, but the Thundercats and the Silverhawks that they're doing, I think those are amazing. But everything else that they've done is like, I don't get it. I'm not into the.
And see, there you go. Perfect example. Ed, he's into the Thundercats and the Silverhawks. Like that's your IP. You're a fan of that, and you like the figures they're making.
Right.
So like that fandom is out there. Those customers, those money payers are out there, and there's got to be a community like that for Todd because he keeps doing what he's doing, and he keeps doing it. It's not like he's not losing money, because if he was losing money, he'd change the way he does it.
Right.
So
I don't mean to play devil's advocate, but everyone that was in a creative director kind of position in the toy industry that I've talked to has always told me that female and villains figures don't sell as much.
They don't sell as well.
Now I've always heard that. Now that doesn't mean that I don't think they should be there, because I would hate to have not had a Princess Leia to go along with my Han and Luke.
Absolutely.
But that doesn't mean that you can't sell them at a lower quantity and have them available, or have them available through some other means. Maybe they're just like available in specialty stores, even though I don't even like that idea either. But that's what I've always heard.
But look at it this way, because I'm going to use Hasbro as an example, because they made male and female villains. Look at what they're doing this year with villains. Like, look how sought after that Baron Zemo is. Look how sought after like most of those villains were. Like Red Skull. Like most of those villains in that villains wave sold pretty well. And it wasn't just like, oh, people were wanting villains. You can't just have all good guys and not have no villains with them. Like
Yeah.
when he says his choosing process just mind boggles me out of the world. Like when he
I,
says they show me pictures, I don't know the name of any of these characters, and I say that looks cool, that looks cool, that looks cool, that looks cool.
Yeah,
Dude, come on.
I think where what it's all coming from is if you go back to the 80s and the 90s where toy lines were tied into cartoons and comic books where they had to have it was a two or a three-way merchandising thing. So they couldn't sell a new toy line without a hit cartoon or TV show. Um, Traditionally, what Alex said is correct. None of the boys, these are boy toys. Boys don't want to play with female action figures. They didn't care about the female characters in the show or in the comic book, so they never sold as well. When you talked about going to the toy aisle and those same two or three figures from each box are still on the shelf, they got picked through, and everybody bought the better characters, and now these are what's left. So you've got, like if it's G.I. Joe, you've got 6 Scarlets and 12 Lady Jays and no Baroness because boys like Baroness because the Baroness was sexy. But that's where that mentality is coming from. Moving into where we're at now is that traditionally, the female characters never sold as well. So why are we going to take our time to develop those toys when we don't know if we can move them or not? So let's just do the ones we know we can move, and that's not correct because now you're taking away, the possibility to have a more thorough collection. You're taking away options from people who clearly want options. If nothing else, collectors love the variety and the options now because of what we can do with articulation and accessorizing and everything else. But it all goes back to do you really care that much about the female characters or not? I think that's all Todd's really getting at is
yeah.
that any kid who really throws that big of any little boy who throws that big of a fuss over a female toy is probably a little off.
Yeah, and I don't think he was just saying because it's a female toy. He's saying this because it wasn't a toy that he wanted.
Oh, okay. I was just going back to all the
But
comments on why,
right,
if you look at any toy line from the 80s to now, if it's a boy toy line, you don't see a lot of females. And if they do them, how do they do them? Overly sexualized, huge tits, perfect little pear-shaped ass. Makeup looks like a prostitute, like I was saying earlier. If you look at all the Marvel Legends, look at Psylocke and look at Rogue. Storm is about the only one that never looks that way because she's not that type of character, and they always make sure they do her right. And I feel like for ethnic reasons they have to, because the backlash they would get if they disrespectfully did a Storm figure would be they don't want to deal with that. But that's something else. I'm just saying, if you look at how the figures are sculpted and how they're built, just like the way they're drawn in the comic books, skin tight outfits, overly voluptuous. You're pandering to a certain crowd there as well. But those guys don't necessarily want to plop down $19.99 for a superposable hooker with a green and yellow costume and a leather jacket.
yeah,
They just don't want to.
you're absolutely right. And as the father of a 12-year-old boy, and he's been collecting Ben 10 figures. Well, I think the line is dead now because I haven't seen one on the shelf in a while. But I don't think Playmates ever even made a female in that line when I think about it. It was all Ben 10, the villains, and Ben 10's different alien forms. I don't
Yeah.
remember ever seeing Gwen, the female character in the show, on the pegs.
Because I think they made
Um,
the grandfather, didn't they?
they did make the grandfather, yeah.
Yeah.
They made tons of different versions of Ben, of course,
Yeah.
and lots of the aliens, lots of the villains. And then Bobby has said before, there's a reason why we get so many Iron Mans, Spider-Mans, Wolverines in the Legends line, because those are like the anchor characters. You're going to see those all the time.
Yep.
And when a little boy walks through the aisle and he sees Spider-Man or Iron Man, that's the one he's going to grab. It's not because he doesn't like the Wasp. It's not because he doesn't like, you know, the Dora Milaje,
Right.
it's because that was the main character from the movie that he really was into, and his parents are probably only going to buy him one toy.
Right.
So he's not going to go for the Wasp. He's going to go for Spider-Man.
Yep. But
You
then
know?
some of the things they do to make reasons, like, I know this is ridiculous, but it's like look at all of the Spider-Mans. Just if you look at Spider-Man and Wolverine, and you look at the Toy Biz and all the figures that they've done, look at just those two characters alone. How many different iterations of those characters you have, and all they do is they change one little aspect, or maybe it's just a different costume, or now it's Wolverine with jeans and a wife beater on, or it's
all the different Iron Man marks.
Yeah, it's Mark 25 and he's got Crocs on. Oh, but I don't have the Iron Man with Crocs.
Yeah.
I need that one. It's gimmicky. It turns into a gimmick at the end of the day. It's they're not pushing for anything original. They're just finding ways to resell you yesterday's lunch.
Exactly.
Package it different and
Yep.
trick you into buying it. So
real quick, before we
Jay's
go
Jay's Figs brought up a great point.
Sorry, real quick. Let me read the super chat real quick.
Oh, okay.
Robert Diaz says, can Todd McFarlane explain why I can't find a Fennec Shan on peg? I see Fennec Shan at toy shows for north of $35. To Todd, Shan won't sell.
I can tell you why you can't find Fennec Shan, because the Black Series
is a collector.
Doesn't hit the pegs. Like I saw, unless you want Lando. My Target and Walmart had lots of Lando.
Exactly.
They overpack Lando. They put like 2 in every case, and then they single pack. What else was in that wave? They single packed Tech from the Bad Batch. They single packed Fennec Shand. And Hasbro's distribution is horrible. I think McFarlane has much better distribution, and that's why we see more figures on the shelf.
Yeah. But I also think there's a little bit of apples and oranges going on, because we can't really compare McFarlane's lines that's geared and marketed and sold to kids than to Black Series. I mean, you got adult collectors complaining about not getting their Slave Leia. I mean, you don't hear little boys complaining about that in the 5 POA Star Wars figures,
And that's why Slave Leia was a big time peg warmer until there was controversy, and then she spiked in price because of the speculators.
But to kind of argue that, look at Fortnite. They make male and female figures, and they sell like hotcakes.
And look, Jay, that's what I wanted to bring up. Is Jay Figs brought up a great point. Todd does make female figures. He said Todd didn't say he wasn't making them. He's just saying he can't sell a full wave of it. He also said he couldn't sell a full wave of villains.
That's a little bit of clarity.
Because if you are that little boy and you're going down the aisle and you see Harley Quinn, Batman, Green Lantern, and whatever else, and you can buy one toy, you're probably going to grab that Batman. Well, and Batman and Spider-Man and Iron Man, they sell because those are like the big characters from those IPs, and those are like the biggest IPs right now. I mean, what parent took their kid to the Suicide Squad movie, and now that 10-year-old kid wants a Harley Quinn figure? That's not as common as a kid who walks down the aisle and sees Batman, who has his own cartoons, his own movies, and now he wants that.
But Batman I gotta say, every once in a while, they hit the mark with a character that you like that new Swamp Thing that they did.
Yeah, love it.
I was at Target and I saw a little boy. It was on the middle shelf, so it was right at his eye level.
Yeah,
he didn't have a clue who Swamp Thing was, and he was saying, "Dad, who's this? Who's this? I want this." Kid had no clue, but I had to admit, it was the first time I'd seen it. And I'm standing in there, I'm watching him hold the box, and he's moving it all around, and I'm looking over his shoulder like, "Shit, Dad! If you don't buy that for him, I'm buying it because that's pretty bad."
Dude, that Swamp Thing is nice, man.
Yeah. So then you've got times where they clearly are putting all of that aside, and they're saying, "Hey, let's just take a character who deserves to be well done and have him be well done, and let the sales fall where they may." You know what I mean? Sometimes they do have the freedom and the power to do that, where they're not so much worried about, well, is it going to sell? If you take the time and you show the character the love that it deserves, and you do a really well executed toy, it's going to sell. It is absolutely going to sell. Doesn't matter if it's a male or a female. Doesn't matter if it's a movie or an animated version. Doesn't matter if it's true to the comic or not. Well-made products always sell.
Period. Yeah, that's true. All right, so we'll go ahead. We'll leave out this last comment. Jay Rod says my biggest gripe with Todd's interview was he doesn't pay attention to other toy lines. How do you stay competitive if you don't pay attention to how the industry progresses? Articulations, for instance.
I don't
Very
believe
true.
that. I think he does. I think he
Because
was.
he did make a shot at the Eternals wave. He did make a shot,
Yeah.
so he is paying attention somewhere.
He took swipes at Hasbro without saying Hasbro for sure.
Exactly.
And I mean, a lot of that conversation, and this is on the Shartimus Prime channel. If you want to go watch the interview we're talking about, he did he did mention the price between him and the companies that have shareholders, and why they're raising their prices, and he's holding at 20. So he definitely pays attention to the other toy companies.
And he basically he's in, like you said, he's in business for himself. Like and I'll leave it at this. I'm going to end it like this because we need to move on real quick. I feel like some of this is because of the Spawn movie. It's not getting off the ground. Like I honestly think you think about it. You think about look.
Jamie Foxx, man, what are you talking about? It's gonna get made. 2026.
All right, moving on. Thanks you. Thanks, Alex. You just thanks, Alex.
Could I put one more pin in it?
Sure.
One more pin. If you're my age and you were into Batman back in the early 90s, the Kenner Dark Knight collection, Batman Returns era, what was the biggest peg warmer? And I had the figure. No.
With that weird, wasn't the Catwoman?
Yes,
Batman
yes,
Returns?
Catwoman.
Yeah.
Catwoman.
With that freaking
with the
right
whip.
hand.
Mm-hmm. She had the whip. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that Catwoman.
I had that figure, but that thing sat around forever. And I could go to a toy show here in Washington in 2022 and buy that thing for $5 to $10.
Yeah.
I mean, that thing sat around forever. I don't think. Listen, Todd is not a misogynist. He doesn't dislike women or female action figures. He's a businessman, and he's going to put on the shelf what will sell the most units.
I understand it, but he's also got to figure and excuse me, and we'll be talking to this person next week. They felt like he was kind of pushing off the female collectors, and, not making like a whole.
If anyone is out there pushing off female collectors, they should be ashamed of themselves. No one should do that. You should be welcoming to anyone that wants to collect figures in this community. In this community, regardless of their gender, that's unacceptable. I don't think that's what Todd was doing personally. But going to a Facebook toy group, there's a handful of female collectors in the groups, but there's thousands of dudes, and that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
But if you're a dude in the toy group and you're throwing shade at a collector because they're a woman, you should be ashamed of yourself. It's unacceptable.
Exactly. Because if I have a daughter and you throw shade at her, we're gonna have we got some problems.
Man, I don't have a daughter, but I tried to get my nieces into toys and I couldn't make it happen.
I'm sorry.
Why don't you show them the Barbie dolls? Maybe they'll get into that.
I wish if I had some, I would. I bought one of my nieces some of those adventure dolls that Hasbro made, or the Hasbro adventure figures, like the 8-inch Barbie Star Wars characters, and they weren't having it. They're like, no, we're good.
Just take them to Alex's house. Play with all the dolls.
I was gonna say,
hey, we got to make little Megatron into a toy collector, Alex.
Exactly.
I don't want her to be. I want her to be as girly as possible. Stay away from this.
Because you know what? He doesn't want her stepping in on a collection. That's what it is. No. He doesn't want her. He's like,
stay away from those middle-aged, smelly collectors.
No, he's like, you want that hot toy? Ooh, I don't know if we can afford that hot toy this month. Daddy's got 4 on the way.
Yeah. You got a payment every week.
Exactly. All right, so they did release this week another one, that XMen animated VHS figures. Woo!
No bueno.
Well, the colors are wrong. The ponytail's wrong.
It's the face for me. I only care about the colors. It's the face.
I mean, if they're gonna ask for $28 for a repaint that's supposed to be an homage to the cartoon, you got to do better than this. Especially, $28, no Build-A-Figure piece.
Yeah.
One extra head, no extra hands, no effects pieces. That's a big ask.
Look at that. That's sad. That's a sad face.
It's like Miley Cyrus.
Yo, I did not. Yeah, I see it now. Yo, Miley Cyrus with some hair. Oh my goodness.
Uh-huh.
Now listen, I have the first version of this character. It came in a 3-pack with Cyclops and Wolverine, and I like the figure.
Yeah,
It
the
looks
Phoenix
great.
one.
Yeah, it's or the Phoenix one that came in a 2-pack with Cyclops. But this one for $28, if you want me to buy this to collect the cartoon line, you got to do better because the colors are off, the head sculpts are off, and with no extra accessories, I had to pass on it.
You know what this reminds me of? So remember when they returned to Marvel Legends, Jean Grey? That's what this looks like.
I mean, I honestly think this one's a lot better than that one, but I do remember that one.
I can't this face sculpt is what turns me off so much. Like, I can get past the colors. It's just the face sculpt on both heads. It's just like, I don't know. It's not like the Jean that I remember seeing.
I actually if this was supposed to be a comic book based Jean, I'd be okay with it.
Right.
But the fact that it's supposed to be the cartoon version, there's too much wrong with it.
Yeah.
And for if it was $20, maybe I'd get it. And throw the VHS box on my shelf. But for that extra $8 plus tax, and I got 10% sales tax here in Washington, I had to pass.
And she's not pinless either. That's another thing. Like, you
yeah,
would think at this point, like, she'd be on a pinless body.
Yeah, with the updated arms from the shrink body, maybe. But yeah, I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And in fact, I went back and I canceled my other animated figures.
You know what? Looking at this, I'm almost willing to like go ahead and do that. Like, I'm really pushing to do that. Like, after this, because it's like, what's the point? Like, unless your next character, unless it's Morph.
I was just gonna say until that Morph comes out.
Morph, I would do. Hopefully, I could use some acetone to take the pixel shading off. I might go back and get the Wolverine just because I love that head sculpt they used. It's it's their best Wolverine head sculpt yet. But the rest of the line I'm out on.
Yeah, this is it. This might be off of it, unfortunately. But what turns me on to Mayfix? Magneto. You know how to magnetize so well.
And I think we all knew this was coming. I mean, they did the AOA version, which was slightly inaccurate. But this looks spot on, and I definitely pre-ordered this.
Man, look at Magneto. Look at the head sculpt, the cape. This is my Magneto.
Yeah. That effects piece is like, why does he have that water effect? Like, because that looks like,
you know what? So okay, I'm gonna give you an explanation why. If you ever play Marvel vs. Capcom, it'll work for that. If you're trying to do like a Marvel vs. Capcom versus like X-Men, so that it can work with that. I'll give them that. I understand why they may have put that on there. Because if they gave him the little floating rocks too, I'll be like, yeah, this is a comic Marvel vs. Capcom Magneto.
Yep. I'm all in on the Mafex Marvel stuff and DC. I think they're doing a great job. I know they have, we can nitpick them for sure. Yeah. They still do have the occasional QC issue, which really seems unacceptable for a $100 figure, almost $100 figure. But I do want to support this line. I want to support Mafex because I want them to keep going because, man, I had some of the early Mafex figures, and they have come a long way.
Oh, yeah. Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Especially since, because I got that, what was it? The Dark Knight Returns? No, the Batman Begins Batman from them.
Oh, that was bad.
I opened that box. That arm fell right off.
Yeah. Oh, I got their C-3PO and R2-D2 2-pack. The R2-D2 was great. That C-3PO fell apart in my hand. It was just like everything just came apart. It's horrible. But they have come a long, long way. Their live action stuff, they're kind of like SH Figure Arts where they don't nail the likeness all the time, But their comic based stuff. You know, their Batman, Superman, Magneto. I like their Wolverines. Cyclops is pretty good, but I mean, I have the AOA Magneto, fantastic figure, slightly inaccurate, but I'm gonna get this one too.
Yeah. There was a question about Greg asked what was going on with the dark face Magneto, and then Moonlight says it's for the comic shots where the face is covered in the shadow. Then they also announced Snyderverse Cyborg, which looks pretty good. Looks like he stepped off the movie.
I have the first version. He has die-cast parts, like his legs are die-cast. It was another earlier Mafex figure that kind of falls apart. Very frustrating. I'm hoping this one is better because I did pre-order this because you get those extra arms. It looks awesome.
Did he have a helmeted
Yes.
head in the movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Briefly.
Yeah. But this was good. If I had the rest of the team, I'd probably get him as well, but I don't. And then thank you, Dom. I did forget. Dom reminded me. The Return of Superman is shipping out this week, folks.
What's that?
Black Suit Superman is shipping out this week.
Yes. Can't wait. I hope they go deep with that line, the Return of Superman stuff.
Oh, yeah. Well, they got Cyborg Superman ready. I mean,
yep, he's coming. I hope they do Eradicator. There is pretty much confirmed rumors. If you watch Toy Migos, you know that Superboy Prime is coming.
Yes.
Confirmed rumor? It doesn't make it a rumor anymore.
I know. Well, you know, it. Just go with it.
I know.
Yeah.
This guy. You can't take him anywhere. And then this week, NECA's Haulathon. People were fighting. Got Fugitive.
They're all over the place now. Seeing lots of photos.
Not at my Target.
Well, you know.
Were you able to order that Rocksteady and Bebop 2-pack, Alex?
From Target, yeah.
Oh, you were?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Target had them up for a while.
I saw it was in stock and I ordered it really quick for you. So
you did?
Yeah, I'll just go cancel it. It's cool.
No. I mean, since you're gonna sell me your extra Usagi, I'll cancel mine, and that way you can just couple it together.
But then you'll have to pay for shipping for me.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't care. It's fine. I'd rather use the money, cancel it, use the money for something else, unless you want it.
No, I don't want it. I don't collect this line.
Oh no, yeah. So I'll cancel it on my end.
Okay.
Thank you.
We got Token and Razor.
Yep.
Razor. Is it? I thought it was always Razor.
The cartoon versions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always used to call him Razor until someone pointed out to me that there's an H before the Z.
So it's a silent H. So that's why I can't stand about the English language. We always got something. We always got to make up something like, because the H is silent over here and the E is silent over. Well, why you put the E in there if it's silent? You don't need the E if it's silent.
These guys appeared in the cartoon?
Yeah, for one episode.
Oh.
It was towards the very end of the when they were like on CBS in the morning, Saturday mornings. Yep.
They look good.
Yeah. Look good.
They just
always couple them in with lots of accessories.
Yeah. Well, happy everybody got them that wanted. Oh shoot, I forgot about my boy Ulick. So woo! That was a fight yesterday.
Yeah. So, but you know what? I think Walmart is kind of figuring stuff out. Like, Ulick was still available today to pre-order.
Yes.
So whatever they're doing now, where they won't let you add something to cart. Oh, we're too busy right now. Try later. So I tried a few times, and it kept saying that. I was like, I give up. And then Dante, you messaged me, and Rectangular messaged me, and they're like, "Did you get Ulick?" And I said, "Nope, missed it." And they're like, "Keep trying," because it went through eventually for me.
Yeah.
So every few minutes, I'd pick up my phone, click add to cart, and after like 30 minutes, it added to cart, and I got him.
Yeah.
So it was a lot better than it. Was it one per customer?
No, I think you ordered two.
Okay, I ordered one, but
yeah,
it was a lot better than their last Black Series pre-order, which good luck.
Well, yesterday's G.I. Joe pre-orders were not, and what kind of threw me was like you had these on Walmart, but you put them up on Hasbro Pulse as well.
That's good. So Hasbro Pulse is putting up their retailer exclusives on their site too.
Yeah.
So you have another option to get them. And I could have got all those Joes, but I passed them. I don't need the retro cards.
Yeah, I
But
didn't need them either.
if they're going to call it exclusive, great. Okay, do Walmart exclusive, do Target exclusive. Put them up on Pulse too, because that's your store. And they can make those deals with the retailers. And they have been. And it's been a lot easier to get stuff.
Nice. Yeah, everybody's saying like they were able to get like Art. Say, guys, you look before 10 a.m. Art, you know what? You're rich. You already bought Walmart. You already said, hey, Art, hey, you know who I am? I'm Art G. Where's my Ulick? Oh, we got you, Mr. G. We got you. Don't worry. We opened store right. We got the website right open for you, sir.
Hey, you know what's funny about that Ulick is I already have him. I have the one from the box set. I got that box set like 5 years ago.
Right.
This one looks a lot better.
Yeah, it does. It comes with the extra hands, and it does come with a different head sculpt as well.
And he doesn't have the peg holes in his shoulders for the Rhino shoulder pads. Yeah.
We got Master of the Universe He-Man.
Are you in on this, Dante?
What's that?
Are you in on this, He-Man?
No. I was just talking to Ryan before we started. Like, I'm just finishing out my Revelation set, and I'm done with He-Man. That's it.
And by the way, I was kind of surprised you said that it's not a very good line.
I'm not. I shouldn't say that.
I think it's a great line.
I do like the line. I do like the line. I know there's some people who do not like the line. So that's what I'm saying. I do enjoy it. I collect it. If I didn't like it, I would not have it. But I know there's some people who may not like it.
I think it's they don't like the cartoon, but they can. I mean, if there are a He-Man have been collecting the toys for a bit, they can certainly respect and admire the toys. I mean, I think the toys are, way better than the cartoon for most fans, He-Man fans.
Yeah, that looks like the most classic He-Man in this line. So
yeah, that's the toy sculpt, head sculpt on. I don't remember if the original Matty collector He-Man had double jointed knees. Maybe Dom knows. But yeah, it's just like based off of like the original toy.
Yeah. So it's not bad.
Looks pretty good, man. Actually, I think.
Yeah, it does. It looks awesome. We talked about that. God damn it!
This is just. Are we going to look at this Flash? This Wally West?
Yeah, we're going to look at Wally. Wally.
It looks like he has like chest armor on. I mean that.
This is what I'm talking about.
The proportions are just off. Look at those joints. Oh man, ugly.
Just moving on.
It looks like we're losing Ed.
Okay. All right, Ed. Thank you for hanging with us. Appreciate you joining us and hanging out with us.
Yeah, guys, he had a little bit of a family little emergency or something going on. So, but thanks for coming on, Ed. Like
everyone should follow Ed on Instagram at Hey Painter Guy.
Yes.
He's doing cool stuff, and that comic box that he did with the head sculpts is beautiful. And he said he's bringing it back. So
yeah, 2 more. He had them. He had to post up the Fantastic Four and the XMen comics. So definitely.
Now, Jay's Figs just said he's down for that Wally West. And I know he does like some McFarlane figures. I am curious to hear what he likes about them. Because I'm not super particular when it comes to action figures. I mean, that's not true. I guess I am. But they look so wonky to me, dude.
They do. But we'll get to something exciting. We got Brooklyn.
Damn,
gargoyles.
Wingspan.
Yo, you these are not built for DTOFs. Yo, just let you know now. If you put them in DTOFs, you got to take the wings off of them.
Were you a Gargoyles fan, or are you just a fan of the toys?
I always wanted the toys. So now that they're being remade, it's like now this is like my happy time. Like I kind of watch the show every once in a while. I wasn't really allowed to watch it back when I was a kid. So now that I get to like have these toys now, like it's kind of awesome.
I was not a Gargoyles fan. I think it came out a little too late for me.
Yeah, I was a
Was
little
it
too.
96?
Yeah, about around that
Was it
time.
96 or was it before that? Let me
That was
see.
96.
Let me
It
check
was
that.
a-
Let me
I just
see.
remember, I think it came on after Batman the Animated Series, and that was when I turned the TV off. I've heard it's an excellent show. Maybe I'll revisit it one day, but I haven't been buying any of these. Jace Fig said it's because he likes Wally West and he likes The Flash.
Oh, yeah.
Fair
Yeah,
enough.
94 to 96,
Okay.
97.
Okay.
Oh, 94. Okay.
Lurch, Todd McFarlane made the Swamp Thing. Jeff, my wings are not floppy on my gargoyles that I've gotten so far. I'm curious. Like, I'm with you, Art. I have not found Demona and I have not found Bronx, so I'm a little upset about that. All right.
Don't be upset.
So yeah, Brooklyn got announced. So I'm happy that they're getting through the line. Makes me kind of happy that we'll finally get a full set of goals.
Still some main characters left.
I think so. Yeah, you got the
Like
the
Staten
cop.
Island, Long Island, Connecticut. I don't know what
Yeah.
the names of the.
Oh my goodness, I'm not fooling with you today. You know what, y'all just
Is there a
yeah.
Delaware? That's
No,
a
there's
cool
no
gargle name.
Oh my goodness, you know
That's
what?
a cool gargle name.
No,
Delaware.
no. All right, let's get into this. So we're going to announce the winners of the contest. Remember, there's going to be 4 winners. So first up, we got my man Odom Figuration with his bounty hunter pick, Mando.
Ooh,
Why did they always choose the hard way?
Mike Odom with the fire.
We got Benja Vasti.
Very
Boba Fett
nice.
just hanging out. We got my man Will Mitchell.
William. Shout out
Hey!
to William.
Got Destro handing over the case. Sunday best Destro, I should say, handing over the case to Mando.
Looks like that's the credit collection, Mando.
Hey,
Or maybe that's
from
just
the
the black
best.
light. Maybe it's just the black light that he's using.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll tell you. What was all that? And then we got Cap Lives coming in with the Boba Fett. And
Cap
Cargo.
lives always with the super clean shots.
Always. This man, he never disappoints. This payday is low, Cargo. You brought the bounty in. You brought the bounty in less than optimal state. That's why it's a cut. It's great. Let me go back. Okay, here we go. Then we got my man Brandon, Hero Collections. Then, okay, then we'll both die in the name of honor. Boba,
Very nice.
where you want to stay. This is
With the
way.
figure art section. I had that Boba Fett pre-ordered and it was canceled on me.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah. Andrew at Toyco Bandai cut his order on him. I think he had like 100 pre-ordered and they cut him back to like 30.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Gabbard, I know I'm gonna mess. I just knew I was gonna mess this up. Gabbard J, stinking Mandalorians. You sure this is the right bounty kid? There you go. Got some little action going on. Woo! Flip that man across the way.
The Rocksteady Mudhorn.
He sure did.
Oh,
Then
that's
we got
cool.
AR, Toy Space Official. We'll both die in the name of honor.
Popular thing. I'm glad somebody liked that show.
I did. It wasn't all
liked-
bad. It had some good points.
I like 2.5 episodes of it. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Got a little V side.
He knocked him
Oh,
over.
Mando fell over. Oh, poor Mando.
Ooh.
That's the worst part. You like, damn it, he fell over. Why? And then Thor, 2012, coming in with the Book of Boba Fett.
Very promotional poster look. Very nice.
Yeah. Then my man, Dama Chicharro.
Giato. With the bounty hunter shot. Thank you for that one, Dom.
Yes. All right, so let me go ahead and get my pen and paper ready here. Ryan, which one do you think is fourth place so far?
Oh, which one is my favorite? Put me on the spot here.
We have to have 4 winners though.
Okay, this is who's the top left there?
This one here.
That's right.
Right.
Sorry. This one.
Yeah,
That's Odom Figuration.
yeah. I got to go with that one. Just
Right.
it's clean. I love the depth of field, the colors. I'll go with that one as my first place.
Okay, Odom for your first place. Alex.
I like the Apollo Creed talking to Mando.
Apollo Creed.
I can't do it.
Carl Weathers, man. Action Jackson. You know what I'm talking about.
No,
Yep.
but Apollo Creed though.
Carl Weathers.
Oh my goodness. He said Apollo Creed. I'm done. Oh man, this is hard. I'm gonna go with Odom as well.
Although I do like, well, I already said.
But this one, it's got. We have to choose 4 winners, so you still got choices. All right, Ryan, what's your next?
Cap
one?
Lives. Easy.
Cap Lives.
Yeah, the Carl Weathers and Mando.
Apollo Creed and Mando.
Is it Mando or was it Boba?
No,
It's
Boba.
right?
Okay.
Boba. Sorry, Boba.
That's all right. Look, we've been calling him like everybody by the wrong names anyway. Alex, your next one.
The one with the with Mando with the blast effect behind them, the 2 Mandos. Yeah, so yeah, that one right there.
This one.
Mhm.
You
No,
said,
to the
this
left.
one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And that's AR. Choice. All right. I'm gonna go with Brandon. This is very clean as well. All right, Ryan.
I got pick another one.
Well, we gotta pick 4 altogether. All right, see you, Lurch. Thank you.
Can you scroll down the bottom one so I can see it again?
The bottom one's just it's Dom.
I wish I didn't know their names. I feel like I'm going to be
Oh
biased.
no, because this is Dom that we use for the contest.
So that doesn't count?
No, I want to take care of Dom. Don't worry about it. I got it.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, I like that one in the middle with Mando and Boba because it's so
Brandon,
crispy and bright. Yeah.
So Brandon.
Yeah, well, it's Hero Collection. I just call him Brandon. Like,
no, I know, but I'm just wondering
like
what
Hero
makes
Collection.
I know. I'm just saying. I'm wondering what makes a picture so Brandon.
Nothing. I just know it's Brandon because I clicked on it because it just has a look to it. It just has a Brandon look to it, which is that's the way I can put it. It's not a bad thing. It's just
No. I didn't mean to infer it was.
no. All right, Alex.
Muchachiaro.
No, he's not. He's not in it.
I thought you just said he was.
No.
Oh, but you're gonna You're gonna take care of it. All right. So I like. I'm gonna go with Brandon.
Hero Collections again. There we go. I'm gonna go with Cap. All right, and Ryan, your last one.
What's that one on the bottom left?
This one here.
Can I see it? Can you blow that up? Okay, now scroll to the next one. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the movie poster one.
All right, Thor. Alex.
The one at the top in the middle, Boba Fett standing in front of the Slave One ship.
Avenger. And I'm gonna go with Thor as well. All right. So, gentlemen, who do you think is first place? out of the ones that you picked. Alex, you got Cap Lives, AR Toy, Hero Collections, and Avenger.
I really like the Carl Weathers and Boba Fett at the bar because it's just the widescreen kind of feel to it. Looks really crisp. Looks like they're really talking.
All right, Ryan.
I've already said it. I'm going to go with Mike Odom.
Okay.
Top left.
Mike, yeah, it was top. Yeah, it's your number one. Okay. What will be your number two?
Cap.
All right. I agree with you with Mike and Cap. All right. So we got first and second. We need third and fourth.
For me?
Yeah. Well, from all of us, unanimous third and fourth.
Unanimous third and fourth. Well, I am willing to Brandon.
Okay. Ryan.
Yeah, Brandon.
Okay.
I think that was my third pick.
Okay.
Yep.
I think that was my third too.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think I wrote that. Yeah. In the fourth place.
The movie poster one.
Thor. Alex.
The one right next to him. The Mando and Bobo in front of the yeah.
You didn't pick that one. Oh,
I did.
That's right. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. You did. It's tough. I'm gonna go with Thor. So that's our Mike Odom's first, Cap is second, Brendan's third, and Thor is fourth. So that's it. Those are our 4 winners.
Congrats, guys. So
Congrats, gentlemen.
who gets the 2 G.I. Joe figures that I have here that were
Uh,
donated by RGTX in Kenton, Washington?
well,
Check out RGTX if you're in the Pacific Northwest. Great toy store, great retro game store. They sponsored this giveaway with the Snake Eyes, Cobra Commander. Who are these going to?
So I'll be going to Brandon.
Hero Collections.
It would have been easier if it was like one of my prizes. Like, oh, okay, I'll just give it to him tomorrow. I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah, cool.
This is going to cost me $70.
You know what? No, it won't. Just send them to me, and I'll give it to him.
Okay, I'll send.
How
long
I'll
is he in
check it.
town?
That's what I got to find out. I'll find out from him and see how long he's in town.
Okay, cool. Congrats, Brandon. At Hero Collections.
Yeah. Mike Odom, you'll be getting the full Armadillo wave.
Whoa.
Cap, you get Modoc's World Tour. Brandon will get the G.I. Joe. And Thor will get the Valverse Weapons Pack.
Nice.
There we go.
Good job, guys.
Thank you all for coming out and doing the contest. Alex, you know what should be next month's theme? Actually, you know what? Save it to next week. We'll save it for next week.
Okay.
Save it for next week. Give you some time to think about it. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Ed, for joining us again. It was very insightful and it was awesome to have you on. Got to have you back on again. Very, very good conversation. Let's see. Sorry, give me one moment.
Before we get going, I would just quickly mention that they're re-releasing the Hot Toys K2SO, but it's not K2SO. It's like whatever the name of the droid was in The Mandalorian. Do you know, Ryan?
It's an Imperial security droid, I think.
Something droid. Anyways,
Wasn't it called X? You said it was like X
something. Yeah, like well, I just wanted to mention that because the original K2SO goes for it's pretty pricey, like $600-700.
So that would be a good stand-in for your K2SO.
Yeah, until the what's his name show comes out, and maybe we'll see him get re-released there.
Cassian Andor, yeah, Andor.
KX Enhancer Forcer Droid. KX Enforcer Droid. That's what it's called. Ryan, you have any?
Yeah, this is not easy, but I have a bit of an announcement to make. Um, my future on the Infinity Equation is very short. Next week's show will be my last show as a permanent co-host on the Infinity Equation. Um, life happens, things change. Um, I didn't want to step down, but unfortunately, I have to have a job to earn money. So yeah, next week's show will be my last show as a co-host on this show, which has meant a lot to me over the past 2 years. It sucks, but whenever Dante and Alex want to have me back, and I can make it happen, I'd love to. Obviously, there's no beef. There's no beef between the three of us at all.
Yeah,
We're
don't think
brothers.
I didn't fire him like everybody like
No.
we used to.
You finally did it, Dante.
Yeah, I
After
did.
years of threats.
Yeah, no, I didn't fire him. So everybody thinks like, no, I did not fire him.
No, we're all still really good friends. There's no beef. It's just my work is getting in the way, and Friday nights don't work out too well for me anymore. And I would never ask these guys to change the time of the show, the day of the show. Infinity Equation is Friday nights, and Infinity Equation will continue on with these two guys and maybe a new co-host, hopefully. I've made some suggestions to them off air, and I'm sure they're racking their brains to find someone. But I think the show will continue to grow and be successful, and I would love to come back when I have the chance. And if anything ever changes and they'd have me back, I'd love to come back. But I wanted to make the announcement tonight because next week we're going to have Victoria's Cantina, and that's a great guest, and I didn't want to interfere with that show too much by making this announcement. But Dante, thank you so much. The past 2+ years, being on the show with you guys has been awesome. Thanks to you, Alex. You become a great friend.
Same here, man.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate you for joining us. I enjoyed you from the time you started. I was like, yo, Ryan's got to stay. From first episode to now.
And I got to say, thanks to Todd for bringing me on and I leading me to fulfill a lifelong dream of being a Monday or morning zoo radio DJ. When I was a kid, I always wanted to be a radio DJ. I loved the local morning shows here and Howard Stern and all that stuff. And so this is the closest I've ever gotten to doing that, and it's been a lot of fun. The past 2 years have been crazy with everything going on, the pandemic, and Infinity Equation has always been the light at the end of the tunnel for me, for my week. So I appreciate you guys a lot. Yes, Robert, I'll still be on 3POA because that's on Saturday. I don't work on the weekends. So if you guys like hearing me talk, then you could still tune into that. And hopefully when I can come back on this show, I will. Definitely for the 200th episode, I hope.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The door's always open for you, sir.
If not
You're
sooner.
welcome back. And
if anything ever changes with my job, I'd love to come back if you guys would have me.
Definitely.
But Infinity Equation is 8:00 Fridays, and I don't think that should change. And you guys are going to do great moving on. This is not the Laser Pants show. This is the Infinity Equation, so it's gonna go on and be great. So thanks to both of you.
Oh, you're welcome. Bart already saying like we doing change the intro, right?
Yeah, you gotta take my ugly mug out of that intro. Mike Odom, we got a job for you.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the intro is going to be changed. It's fine. It's no problem. But again, thank you, Ryan. I appreciate everything you've done to help with the show.
It's been my
On
pleasure.
and off.
Absolutely my pleasure, man. And I got to say thanks to the Goon Squad showing up every week, and you guys have always shown support and encouraged us, encouraged me, and you guys are awesome. So thank you so much.
Jeremy Jernigan with a super chat. Thank you very much. He says, "Thanks, Ryan. It's been a blast."
Thank you, Jeremy.
Well, we got one more show left with you, so cherish him.
One more show. We
Definitely.
got Victoria's
Don't take him for
Cantina on,
granted.
so
Woo! Can't wait to have her on. I've been wanting to get her on for a while, but definitely glad to have Victoria on and join us next Friday, April 1st. It's not April Fool's gag, so
no, this is not April Fool. When I first told Dante and Alex, I told them my last show's got to be April 1st, and they said, "Oh, okay." And I'm like, "No, really?"
I literally said, "Well, it's because it's April 1st. It's a joke, right?"
Yeah, I wish it was. I wish it was.
We should get like a blow up doll and like put a beard on it. Give it some slick back hair. Just like a stand.
wow. I don't know what you say. You
Like
got
a
plenty of
kid-
dolls back there behind you, Alex.
You're too small.
If you put them up to the camera, they'll be big enough.
Yeah, that's true. Who would he
Just put a
I'd have to
Tuesday Crew shirt on a Gamorrean guard back there, and you got a
There you
laser
go.
sight right there.
Gamorrean guard? I have to paint like Dooku or Obi-Wan's beard brown.
There you go.
Art says you better send me pictures of Ryan since I won't see you on the picture.
That 2-time and slut art. G.
You know, he got to go with where the money's at. You know, I take him to fancy wrestling shows, and you know, hey,
Oh, Dom's got the right idea. A Ryan puppet.
Oh,
Oh my god, are you kidding me? Like the
like
crank
Muppet
yankers?
style? Like all endorse
Yeah,
that.
like crank yankers.
Yeah.
Well, like have you ever seen the Howard Stern show? He's gotten into puppets
Yes.
now. So it's like, oh my god, that'd be so amazing.
You know what is funny? I almost bought that Alf puppet today from NECA.
Was it they made a puppet, right?
I think
Like
it
a
was a puppet.
I don't know.
Oh, I didn't know they made a puppet.
Oh shoot! Thank you, Greg, for reminding me about that. Please go check out MK2 Mark 2 Designs his YouTube page because he has an update on his Kickstarter that he's going to be starting up. So go check it out. Oh my goodness, I almost forgot about that. Thank you.
Check out our friend Mark 2 Design. He's going to be at Joe Fest again if anyone's going to that.
And go check out my boy Esteban too. He'll be at Joe Fest as well. He makes all the great heads. Marty with the super chat. Thank you. He says this will always be the wolf pack of the IE. Love you guys. Thank you.
Love you too, Marty.
Thanks, Marty.
Thank you for letting me sponge off your Hulu account. I appreciate that.
Oh, and Marty sent me an email with a link to I guess it's they're going over Ultimate Warrior's comic book that he did back in the 90s, which is supposed to be just like insane crazy because like he did it all on his own. It wasn't like a WWF thing. So I think everyone should check that out too.
Yeah, you guys send me a link. I need to look at that. I need to check that out.
I will.
Oh, here he is with his his lightsaber.
This heat gun, Robert Diaz?
Yeah. Put that for the puppet. Oh my god.
Put some googly eyes on it.
Yeah.
That's all.
See, I would make the puppet, but I don't want to be the puppeteer.
You don't want to stick your hand up my ass?
I don't have a problem sticking my hand up a puppet's ass. It's just I'm not good with impressions.
You're
good with impressions, Dante, huh?
Yeah.
He's got to sound like George Lucas. I've been told I sound like George Lucas.
You see here.
I look like a younger version of him too.
How you doing?
How dare you?
Middle-aged version of him.
Oh,
hold on. Wait a minute. Here we go. So Ryan, why'd you put the mask on? Well, you know, I didn't want to be. I couldn't let the job know that I was back on the show. So I had to put the mask on.
Oh. Disavowed. Thank you. Quick plug.
R-rated.
Speaking of R-rated, on 3POA tomorrow night, 5 o'clock Pacific time, 8 o'clock Eastern, we're going to be talking about toy lines based on R-rated movies. That's on the Analog Toys channel and on the 3POA YouTube channel, which exists now. Please subscribe.
I'm
not leaving YouTube. I'm unfortunately just this show.
Aliens. I remember I won that Sergeant Apone. So
Oh
bad.
yeah, I still got my vintage Apon, and the power loader.
From
I had
Aliens, really?
Yeah.
The Kenner. Yep.
What's the deal with the Apone figure? Why is it a?
He was just because he was a black character. Like you finally got a black character from
Oh,
like.
I thought you meant like it wasn't like it was harder to find or something like that. Or
No,
just
it was.
valuable or
I
something
was a
like that.
kid. I was in school. Real quick, forget it. So I was in school. I was supposed to get good grades on my report card. Once I got my report card, I could get the figure. My mom had already bought it. She put it up, but I could always open it up and look at it. Like, yeah, look, it's like Sergeant Apone. Man, wait, can't
He was
wait
one
to.
of the best characters in the movie. All right, assholes and elbows.
But the
Hudson,
thing is,
come here. Come
I only
here.
kind of seen the movie. No, I hadn't seen the
Oh,
movie
really?
because like when they came out the figures,
It was in the 90s.
yeah.
And the
So
movie
I
came out
was
in 85, which I saw in the theater.
yeah. So it was like I hadn't still seen I hadn't seen that one in particular.
Mm.
So I hadn't like seen that. So I'm like, I'm just happy, like, yo, it's a black character that I can relate to. And like, and he looks cool. He's got a little bionic arm. Like, oh man, this is
With
cool.
the grenades that
Yep.
plugged into his back.
Yeah.
Oh, those were
And he
cool.
in his arm, he's just like through the grenades, like the rubber
Yeah.
grenades. Yeah. He was great. I was like, yo.
Damn, they should make a NECA. Too bad they stopped making them.
Yeah. But that
Which-
was just the reason why I had Apone, because he was looks like a cool black character. Now
He
that
had like
Todd if Todd would have said that, he looks like a cool black character. All right, Todd. Now we're getting somewhere.
Well, he does think. I mean, Spawn is a cool black character to him. I'm sure.
But he disrespects him so much.
Does he?
He's tarnished the name of Spawn
Oh,
at this
because
point.
of the articulation.
The articulation, the comic, like it's like 50,000 Spawns now. It's like
I
Spawn
thought
multiverse.
the comics were. I've never read a Spawn comic. I've been told they're excellent.
The originals were like the big compendium volumes, like they're huge. I think was it like 5 compendiums, Alex? Let's say 5.
I don't know. I stopped reading Spawn like by issue 15 or whatever.
Yeah, it's more than that. I think there's like maybe like 500 issues of the original Spawn.
No, I think he was like up to like between 200 and 300 now. I think.
Is he?
I
I
think
remember
so.
there was like 3, like maybe it's like 3.
Spawn
It might have been
300.
It might have been collecting some of the other offshoot comics too,
Maybe.
because he didn't have just one Spawn comic. There were
Yeah.
Spawn medieval, whatever. I don't even know. Angela also.
Well, he don't own the rights to her anymore. So
Yeah, he lost it to Neil Gaiman, right?
Mm-hmm.
The writer.
Kind of
Because of
like
it.
yeah, and that's a whole convoluted story.
Yeah, the whole
Mhm.
Miracle Man. And, oh wow, Pokey with a super chat. Thank you very much. Says I'll miss the 3POA because I got to work. $5 for IE and $5 for 3POA. Yes, I will get $5
Thank
over
you.
the 3PA.
Hey, Pokey87, 3POA stays up. You don't have to watch it live. You can always watch us on the replay. Same for IE.
Yeah,
And so, however you watch it, thank you.
appreciate each and every one. And like I said, I appreciate Ryan. Sorry to see you go.
I wish I had cool gang signs for the Goon Squad. That's like Goon Squad for life. Is that the NWO?
Yeah,
For life.
You
For
got
life.
for
There we go.
life.
Life. That's what,
All right, folks, we're gonna get out of here, but join us next week for Victoria Cantina, who will be joining us, and we'll it's gonna be a barn burner with her. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be slobber knocker. I'm gonna use my JR references. All right, folks, have a good night. Stay safe, and happy hunting during Haulathon and Walmart pre-orders.
Ryan
Later,
Puppet.
y'all.